What is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel here, Just Simply Sports with me. I am Kaja. If you're new to my channel, I welcome you. Please hit the like and subscribe button. If you're not new, you've been here, you already know how we do. NBA playoffs, Final Four, here it is. But what I am tired of is the Indiana Pacers disrespect. I'm going to play the script really quickly, and then we'll go right back into it.
Expectations for the Knicks and Pacers in this one.
For the Knicks to dominate. Because all I've been hearing all postseason, when they played the Pistons, oh, the Knicks better watch out. The Pistons, they go knock them off. And then what happened? Sixth them, right? Then we go to the Celtics series. Oh, the Celtics defending champs. We don't give the Knicks a chance. And what happened in that series? The Knicks move on. Now, here we are again, and you have Jalen Brunson, who is the best player in the postseason right now, with Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges, the best starting five in basketball, and still people are saying, oh, the Pacers are going to give them problems. I be damned.
Perk, they're favored.
I be damned.
The Knicks are favored, Perk.
I have the Knicks in 5.
Everything about what he said is so disrespectful on every single level. And I'm not even an Indiana Pacers basketball player, right? I'm a fan of Tyrese Halliburton personally. But to sit there and act as if that team has not grown by leaps and bounds from last season when they were in the postseason to this season in the postseason is diabolical and nefarious, just nefarious word. If you look at the Knicks, right, and they also have grown as well. I'm not counting them out. I don't think either one of these teams are going to beat the other in a matter of 5 games and the other team only wins 1. I don't see the Knicks only winning 1 game or the Pacers only winning 1 game. This to me could be a pickup series. I picked the Pacers in 6. You might say, hey, Knicks in 7, Knicks in 6. Okay, no, fine. But we're not going to act like this is not going to be a battle or brawl for it all, if you want to call it that. Look at each path they took, right? Neither one of these teams had an easy path, in my opinion, to get to where they are in the Eastern Conference Finals, to meet back up again and run this back from last season. Let's go with the Knicks, right? So the Knicks come through a Detroit Pistons team, obviously, whose their bread and butter is built on their defense. The offense came from one person, primarily Cade Cunningham. This was his first time in the playoffs. I don't think he was prepared for the moment, not because he didn't put in the work, but because this is his first time. Lights are bright, biggest stage, something different in your career. It's the first time, nerves are high. I'm sure he was anxious, and there were games that he did good in. There were games he didn't do good in. And the team goes through him offensively. And when it's only going through him for the most part, somebody else has to step up and be a consistent number 2. Offensive wise, they don't have that. But at a defensive end, or defensive end of it, they did give the Knicks that work. Those were not easy wins for the Knicks at all. But they still pulled out in 6 games and they won. Fast forward to a Celtics team. Nobody picked the Knicks to beat the Celtics, not one single person. Everybody fully expected the Celtics to bum rush the Knicks because they have the best starting 5 in basketball. Kendrick Perkins as well. All their players are two-way players. They can play offense and defense. They all can knock down threes. They all can defend at a high level. They have Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Derek White, just name Peyton Pritchard, the 6th man. Just name a few. The Knicks said, yeah, okay. We don't care about that. We're here and we're going to win. They did just that. Now, the first game, they battled back from down 20 points in that second game. But I think that also comes with a toll. They've gone through a lot of physical series before even getting to the Pacers. And when their core is of 5 people, they don't have enough on that bench, or the coach doesn't think that they do because they play the same core plays pretty much the entire game. And for the whole season and now the postseason. And while I think that has prepared them, obviously, for a deep playoff run, for them to be conditioned from that standpoint, I think that comes at a cost because they're not robots. These are still people. These are still men, who need time to also recuperate. They've had a few days, off between, their dominant win in the Garden last Friday against the Celtics to today, Wednesday, with the Pacers in game 1. But it's still been a long game. It's still been a long series, a long season, should I say, before we even get to the playoffs. They have OG Anunoby, right? He's been great, but he has not been consistent, especially with the Celtics. He had 2 games where he had, 2 points, 4 points, I think, and 2 rebounds, He did not have 2 games that could have been costly because they don't have enough, in my opinion, for any one of these guys to have a day off, be it on offense or defense. This team, to me, this core, everyone has to step up and contribute in different ways. No one can just say, hey, I'm just going to play offense and that's it. Even Jalen Brunson is out there being physical, getting it in. To me, Karl Anthony Towns is going to be the X factor, the difference in the series. He has to be the big bodega. When I say big bodega, I need him to use his size, his girth to dominate in the paint and get to that rim. If he keeps settling for threes because he's the best self-proclaimed shooting big in the NBA, that's great. He's not down those threes, but you need him to get in there and really be a presence that is felt, in my humble opinion, in the paint. They're not going to win this series. But outside of that, we know what Jalen Brunson's going to do, but if he's limited in any way or something happens, and he can't, or he has an off shooting night, because that does happen, and Cat is just settling for threes, or he gets in foul trouble early, because that happened a few times too, that's going to be a problem. Mikal Bridges, there were a few games that he wasn't really helpful, and then he kind of came along in the fourth quarter, and that's great. But I don't think with this Pacers team, the way they play at a high pace, the way they can really get out and take over a game super, super early, you can afford to let that happen and wait until the fourth quarter, because the games are not going to be close if you do that. Let's think about Cleveland, 80-38. I don't know, you guys. Okay, so now we're going to fast forward and go to the Pacers side and who they had to go through. They went through a Bucks team who last season everybody said, oh, they won because Giannis was hurt, Dame was hurt. Okay, fine. This season, they had a lot more help. Kyle Kuzma was there. Kuz, I don't know what happened with him. He wasn't really a consistent presence in the playoffs. Brook Lopez needs to go. I told you guys that in one of my other videos. But they still had formidable, they still had other help. They had Bobby Portis Jr., who's a great player for them. We know who Giannis is and what he is. He just averaged triple-double, I believe, in that series. He did what needed to be done as much as he could do. Tyrese Halliburton came through in that series. Clutch, big time. And then games where he wasn't necessarily having good games, but he still came through and dominated. So I think we have 2 star players for their teams who are on the way to being superstars. From my perspective, and they're more than capable of coming through in the clutch. I'm curious to see who's going to be more clutch, because Tyrese hit some big shots in that series throughout the playoffs, and so has Big Body Brunson. So this to me is going to be fun to watch. Also, the coaching. Coach Tibbs is a great coach, but he's not an NBA championship winning coach. Rick Carlisle is. He's been there. He's gotten all the way there. And if you look at this Pacers team where they were last year, everybody kept saying, oh, they're just an offensive team. They don't play any defense. They just play offense. They're going to run you up and down into the ground. It's going to be a track meet, and they're going to get out and shoot threes and so on and so forth. Well, they're still doing that, but they also now play defense at a high level. They've been able to defend quite well, and they have players on that team who are averaging 7 players who are averaging in double figures. I'm thinking about double doubles. Guys, it's been a long day, but they're averaging in double figures. That's not something to just whiff over or blow by, okay? Because the Knicks don't have that. What they do have, obviously, is a team of dogs. And I'm not mad at that, but I will argue that both teams have dogs. Both teams have people who can get out there and get in your face. Miles Turner, Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, TJ McConnell to me, who was the white version of Josh Hart. Those 2 guys to me I absolutely love to watch play, and I feel like those 2 players don't get enough credit for what they bring and how they impact their team without even scoring at a high level. They get in there, they get in your face, they're diving, they're rebounding, they're rolling on the floor, black eyes, busted, whatever it is. They get in there and they get at you. They're not afraid to do it at all. I love those 2 players. Can't say enough about either one of them. But the simple fact is that when you have fresh bodies to keep throwing out there, to keep wearing you down each play, each quarter, over and over again, that to me comes at a cost. And I really feel like at some point, the Knicks are going to hit a wall. You got to have more than 5 core players. Miles McBride is one person, but he's not Jalen Brunson. He's not. I like him. He can give you some threes, but there are times that he came in the series where he didn't really give you any more. A lot of production. It just didn't happen. So OG Anunoby can't have games where he's not really shooting too good or rebounding too well. Cat has to get in there. He can't be a cat. He needs to be a big dog in in the paint, especially. I'm curious to see if they're going to have that match between him and Miles Turner, how that's going to go. Cat tends to get in foul trouble early sometimes, and that's going to be a problem because they don't have enough for anybody in this team to be in foul trouble early and have to come out the game, sit on the bench, or they can't play the way they need to play because they're afraid of fouling out the game before or early the third quarter or before, dare I say, halftime. The Pacers, to me, are the team that's going to walk away with the victory, not because the Knicks are not capable of winning, but because to me they simply have more depth and they have a coach who has been there. I think a lot of the underestimation that keeps being put out there is only feeding this Pacers team, calling their leader Tyrese Halliburton overrated, voting him that and then chanting that out from the crowd. It's only feeding this team even more. It's not making them shy away from the moment. They're not getting caught in their feelings about the naysayers. They're stepping up to the challenge every single series. Everybody expected them to be the Cleveland Cavaliers team that was dominant in the East, that had pretty much beat out the Celtics in terms of their record, and then they came through. It was like, oh, they beat the Bucks. They didn't have Dame. They're gonna get spanked next round against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That did not happen at all. So for me to say that the Knicks are gonna win in 5 is wow. I don't know what dream KP had last night, but he doesn't really tell us about what he was dreaming because that's crazy. What do you guys think, though? Who do you have winning this series and in how many games? And who do you think needs to be the X factor for either team to win? I'm going Pacers in 6. I'm curious to see, or should I say read, your comments, and I'll see you, of course, in the next video.